Hello everyone. Nearly 80 years ago during World War II, the United States dropped 2 atomic bombs on Japan in the cities of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, killing more than 200,000 people. With such an extremely serious disaster, the Japanese people should be very silent about America, or at least the American government. But no, on the contrary, the Japanese people love the Americans very much, and these two countries are allies. So what happened? Why don't they hate each other? Let's find out together, guys. Every year, the Japanese Cabinet Office conducts polls, and the results show that up to 87% of Japanese people feel close to America, and hatred due to America dropping 2 atomic bombs on Japan no longer exists in Japanese society. So what is the reason why Japan, instead of hating it, feels sympathy and closeness to America? Perhaps the first reason we need to mention is that the regime from before World War II made the Japanese people very disappointed. Specifically, since 1926, Emperor Hirohito has ascended the throne to rule Japan. Under his reign, Japan became chaotic, the economy was in serious crisis, and the unemployment rate increased rapidly, causing conflicts between people, labor, and government. Bloody clashes with police broke out regularly. The emperor believes that the way to save the country now is to step up colonial invasion to exploit mineral resources. That's why all the great resources have been spent on the military, on war costs. The Japanese economy has weakened even weaker, and the people have become poorer and more miserable. Therefore, confidence in the emperor's rule has declined. So what does this have to do with America? And why does it make America more favorable in the eyes of Japanese people? We have to come to the second reason, which is the process of Japan falling under America's control. After World War II, the Japanese people thought that the Americans would dominate militarily and that Japan would fall under American tyranny, becoming a completely occupied territory. They thought that the Americans would do evil, despicable things and massacre the Japanese people like the way Japan did to China. The Japanese army even distributed poison to the people in case they were killed. When American troops invaded, they drank it to escape. Japan was so certain that the new American overlords would be brutal that the Japanese government actually organized state-sponsored brothels to entertain American troops and also protect them. Innocent girls, but they were all very surprised that the American army was not what they thought. Specifically, the Americans themselves declared brothels illegal, and forcing women into such work was undemocratic and unethical. During the 7-year American occupation of Japan, they assisted Japan in drafting a new constitution, rebuilding the country, and gradually both the Japanese and Americans liked each other more. It was because the actions of the Americans surprised the Japanese and reduced their hatred. Not only that, the United States helped Japan revive its economy to the point where Japan became richer than before the war and became the second largest economy on the planet. Specifically, since 1945, beauty salons have brought in an average of $178 million to Japan each year. They promoted the New Deal economic policy to help improve labor and community rights, abolish monopoly capitalism, and reform the economy. Educational Mechanism Group. In addition, the U.S. also supports Japan in developing technology, turning Japan into a giant manufacturing country. Entering the 1960s, Japan was 25% better off than before the war. People's income increased twice every 10 years, and Japan's farms were densely cultivated and highly productive. Nearly every Japanese family owns a radio, and every 4 has a television. More newspapers are sold per capita than in the U.S. The Japanese people are the best fed, clothed, and housed in Asia. Japan also does not spend money on the military and has more resources to invest in the economy and become richer. Can be said that thanks to America, Japan became unexpectedly richer than before the war. Therefore, Japanese people do not feel any hatred towards Americans, even when Japan is too developed. By the 1980s, the American economy was in crisis, unemployment increased, and American people blamed the government for being too favorable to Japan. Then the US forced Japan to increase the value of the yen to hinder Japan's export competition to the US. Besides, Japan also brought factories to the US to produce jobs for Americans to increase their income, thus stabilizing the relationship between Japan and America. And the third reason is that Japan and the United States found a common enemy, which was the expanding threat of communism, which Japan absolutely hated, even though Japan itself was just beginning to transform. Changed from an absolute monarchy to a constitutional monarchy. Japan and the US signed a peace treaty, which means the US will provide security and military support to Japan. In return, the US will gain an important foothold in the Asia-Pacific region. Japan is very pleased to have found a powerful ally that can prevent China's domination in the region. So in short, there are 3 reasons why Japanese people no longer hate Americans after World War II. Before the war, Japan was poor, miserable, and unstable. Second, after the war, the United States treated Japan well, helping Japan develop its economy to become the 2nd largest economy in the world. And thirdly, both Japan and America have common enemies. They signed a mutual aid agreement. That's the reason why Japanese people no longer hate America anymore. Thank you for watching. Hello and see you soon.